Let there be light, and there was light. Words of the said God, Mother Eve. So I would like to have a comparison on the teachings of Jesus Christ and the letters or Latins of Mother Eve, of course. If you have followed me on this On Crimey Queen's YouTube channel or have watched my early videos where I mentioned that Christ's teaching was really about Mother Eve, this is really evident now. So, of course, when I looked at our template and how robust it is, and the teachings of Christ on the teachings of Mother Eve, of course, with the eye here, we saw that the word new was very much Mother Eve because Eve equals 5. Christ also equals 5. Now, when we say Jesus or Christ, that equals 7. Of course, Mother Eve is the serpent also equals 7. Or the present. So, of course, is maybe I should just give you a little illustration. So, hope you can see. Oh, let's turn the camera slightly. This is a bit fragile, but let's just turn it this way. Hopefully you can see this. So, Mother Eve, EVE, is 5, 4, 5. This equals 14. If we add all these numbers together, then you can see this is, of course, 5. Now, what is so beautiful about all this as well, like my early teachings as well, it's about beginning and end. The word beginning equals 9. And so beginning, I am not going to do all the sum total. Beginning equals 9 and end equals 5. When we add 5 plus 9, that gives us 14, and 1 plus 4 also equals 9. This 1 plus 4 also equals 5. So there we see how, of course, the beginning and the end consist of the 14 gods. So the 14 gods is beginning and end, meaning Mother Eve is beginning and end. So we have, of course, the 14 gods, which is the blessed God, the created God, the moved God, said God, saw God, divided God, called God, made God, set God, blessed God, ended God, caused God, formed God, breathed God, and planted God. These are the 14 gods of Genesis. Now, of course, if you're new to this, this would sound like, oh no, I've heard about Allah, I've heard about Buddha, I've heard about all these other gods or Shiva or Shakti, but I haven't heard about the called God or the caused God. These gods have been so clever. They have permeated their attributes in our very language that every time we speak and utter, this is the smartness of Mother Eve, because Mother Eve is the said God. The said God mentioned in Genesis of chapter 1, verse 3. This is when the said God, when it is said, and God said, let there be light. This is where Mother Eve made her presence. So anytime we hear about said and speech, the power of Mother Eve is being projected, we could say. Now it is up to the gods in this sense, because of course Mother Eve had given them letters or Latins, and it's up to the gods to see, or up to us right now to see how we are using or allowing the gods to operate through us. Okay, so I was going to say, so we see beginning and end is 14. 1 plus 4 is 5. And Eve is 5. Christ, Christ, Christ is also 5. We have pyramid is 5. Kundalini is what we are really talking about, because that is activating the chakras and opening your third eye. So that equals 5 right here. Kundalini equals 5. Life equals 5. If I remember well, yeah, I'm going to do life 3, 9, 6, 5. So this is 15, 20, 23. 23 equals 5. There we have the 32 or 23 on here. So we are about 5, understanding that we are 5. We are of Mother Eve. Mother Eve is beginning and end and is everlasting. We see that in the word revelation, for instance, where Mother Eve, of course, because Mother Eve is of words, Mother Eve is showing us her attribute right here. And this is the column we are on right now in the developmental stage. And EVE. Mother Eve goes either way. We have been taught, this is the thing, we have been taught to read a certain way, and it's as if we have forgotten that we have the power which Mother Eve says, behold, I have given you every fruit bearing seed, or every fruit or every tree that bears seed. So we forget that we have the tree, we are of the tree of life, with the ability to go up and down, or to go from the east to the west. And that's what we have not been doing. So revelation, when something is revealed, that means it's been uncovered. That means you are looking at it from another perspective. And that's what revelation is teaching us right here. So basically, we are dealing with 1. Why we are doing 1 now, or 4? Because 4 here, this is symbolic of 4, which is the cross. And just to show you, we are dealing with the cult God. When I said 1, I like it when we are in synchronizing with the lesson or the teachings. I am now using such words, or the sharing. Let's put it the sharing. Okay, so the called God equals 10, which is 1. Of course, the word 1 equals 7. We have done this, so I'm not going through the numerical sums again. So we are talking about adding numbers 1 to 4. But I really wanted to show about 4 being the cross. This is where Mother Eve intuitively teaches us how to make sense of our world. So 4 is really, this is about the sacrifice. This is where Christ, if you could see this, let's, okay. First of all, if we add these numbers together, 3, 4, this gives us 10. This is 1, 3, 1 plus 2, 3, 3 plus 3, 6, plus 4 is 10. So we could see the correlation of 10 with the called God. This is where Mother Eve is asking us to pay our attention to in this era of the 5th and 8th dimension for the next 7 years. This is the God that we are now occupied with. Now I understand why it is the called God. The called God, of course, was in I believe it's the 5th verse of the Bible. And so, of course, the 5th verse of Genesis of chapter 1, but there is a reference to 5, which means that Mother Eve has swapped the position of the said God being, or the created God, and the called God have swapped positions. I have a series why the gods have changed positions. So they have changed positions. And the called God, for instance, is now the first God that we are meant to be calling on, of course, which had that number 5 vibration, which is representing Mother Eve. So before I go on, so I wanted to show how one hair is also whole. We see that as the start of all developmental stage. This is where Christ, of course, we had Christ on the cross. So of course, arms onto the side and leg really being, well, his leg would be, should we say, the arms, okay, arms on the cross, and the legs one over the other has been crucified. So there is that state of one of the 4 points and of oneness. So to show how one also equals whole, the whole. So we see 4 is representing the 4 points, your north, south, east, and west, which is what we also had right here. Excuse me. So we had 4, meaning 9, which comes under the R. 9 is actually representing whole, like in the word WHOLE. So this is 5, 8, 6, 3, 5. Adding this together, which is 8 and 8, 16, would be, plus 6 would be 24, plus 5 is 29, 27. So let's do this again. 8, sorry, plus 6, let's do it this way, is 14, plus 8 is 20, 14 this time, plus 8 plus 13, let's do it this way, is 27. 2 plus 7 equals 9. Okay, I've got a good memory. I knew it was 9. So this is the whole. So there's a process that we are going through right now. The whole is actually 9, although 8, like the rubber band being unfolded, is really also whole. This is the whole. This is also the mouth. This is, and the mouth also equals 5. The word mouth equals 5. Now the word mouth equals 6. Just like 4 hair equals 4. The word 4. The word 4, F-O-U-R, 4 and 5, both equals 24, which gives us 6. 6. And that is also corresponding with wholeness, as in the creation. Everything was created in 6 days. Or we are number 6, and we are of everything. So basically 6, and if we did the numerical value for the word 9, this would also give us 6. So the other thing I wanted to show about this part of wholeness is when we do the numerical value for 8, EIGHT, excuse me. So this is 5, 9, 7, 8, 2. So this is 10, 17, 26, 31. So 3 plus 1 equals 4. So we can see how 4, as we have this infinite wholeness of the figure 8, also has the value of 4. this is 31. This is what we are meant to be representing in the earth right now, in the sense that we are a new species or a new creation. This is where Mother Eve calls us to make man in our image and likeness, or after our likeness. This is the new era we are talking about. And making man in our image after our likeness, that is in direct correlation with the story of Christ. So this is where we see Christ being crucified. We know that we always see it's a 4-point cross, 4-pointed cross, a cross with 4 points and 4 nails, or 3 nails rather, 3 nails. I've done other things or presentations on the nails. So 3, of course, if we did the numerical value for the word 3, it's 11, which corresponds with the word Jesus. So that's another part of the story, which is very, well, it corresponds with 11, just as it were in Mother Eve's spells when she says, "Let there be light." The word "there," which also consists of the word "hair," it equals 11. So we can see that there is a hair and there in the story. The hair that we are dealing with right now is the story of Mother Eve. And then we have the story of there, which was Jesus Christ. Whichever way we want to look at it, there, on whichever spectrum you want to see it, it is the same story. This is what we want to really be showing here. Now, 31 also corresponds with the Genesis of chapter 1, verse 31, which is the last verse of the chapter, which is really, again, an emphasis to letting us know this is where we are meant to become. We are meant to be at that stage, or see ourselves in that stage, because that is the last entry of Mother Eve when she says on the 8th entry, "Let us make man in our image after our likeness." There was 8 entries. The first 7 entries had a consistent pattern in let's just put it this way. The word "the," which is part of the word "there," or "let there be," or "let the waters." So we see that what was consistent right through 1 to 7 entry is "let the." I hope you can see on here, for instance, "let the," which is part of the word "there." And let's just see this here. So back to called as well, we can see where Mother Eve's first word was "let," which is 3, 5, 2. Adding this together is 10. So we can see why Mother Eve is now referring us or attention to the called God. The called God. Basically, we are now in a position to speak Mother Eve's language, calling things or aspects or creativity into being, and saying, "Let there be." This is the God we are calling on, the called God. So "let the," which is the word "the" equals 6. Now we are 6. And of course, whether it was the word "whole" you were dealing with, which equals 9, and of course the word 9, adding this together, this is 5, 9, 5, 5. This is 15, 24. 2 plus 4 is 6. We are dealing with the same thing. Again, it depends on which position you are looking at this. and dealing with the gods. So Mother Eve, what is consistent with Mother Eve here is let the, which equals 7. And this 7 is like 7 sevens. I don't know if it makes sense to do this. So I add like this 3 sevens 21 and 4 sevens 28, just because I can't tell you 7 sevens altogether. So this is 49. This is what is consistent here right through. 4 plus 9 is 13. Of course, that's the God number we have been looking at. 13 as in the 13 as in the incubator, because we have 13 as the incubator of creation, for creation. And of course that comes under the 2 column. 13 is the B here, but 13 also, when we add 1 plus 3 together, also gives us 4, which is where we get our orientation together. So we are basically dealing with 2 and 4. And what we are seeing here, 2 and 4, is really one and the same here. Of course, we are dealing with Mother Eve right here, which is where Mother Eve ate. So there is a cycle happening right here. Mother Eve, EVE, and Mother Eve ate, ATE. Ate of the fruit. This is what Mother Eve is really teaching us. This is our developmental stage in the 5th and 8th dimension. So here we are talking about the fruit of good and evil, or the fruit of life, the tree of life. And just to mention, for those or for people who really feel that Mother Eve was evil and that eating of the fruit was the fall of man, or when we hear of the fall, we don't think about a season, as the word fall is often used as the autumn, or the winter, or the season for regeneration or regenerating, or with a tree, for instance, it bears fruits, because seasons were in place at the start of creation, where Mother Eve said, let the days be for seasons, the days and years before signs and seasons. So those things will call into being. So when we hear about the fall, it was a season for a new change, and not as we have been really taught. Of course, we have the power to imagine. This is why the psalmist say that the people have imagined a scheme. We have imagined things, and what we give attention to is what develops. And so that's what has happened. Now, the thing that I have also noticed with in comparison to Jesus Christ Beatitudes, the Beatitudes, which there are consistencies as well, because I'm talking about comparing the Beatitudes as well. So the word blessed, of course, equals 3, which of course coincides with this 3 the 3 letters, not only the first 3 letters of Mother Eve, because that's what happens when we learn from our parents, or we learn from our guardian. So the first word that Christ was teaching in this 8 blessings, or the Beatitudes, was blessed. The word often being termed as blessed or blessed. When Christ used that word blessed, which, as I have said, shown here that 13 also is the B. And Christ's words would start with this word blessed or blessed. I hope people can see the synchronicities or the wisdom in this teaching, because we see that the consistent pattern here equals, here we see, as I say, seven entries, and comes to 13. There Christ is picking up on this 13 because it was Christ at the table with 12 disciples and him at the Last Supper being 13. So Christ actually had carried that, this is the cross again, because 1 plus 3 equals 4. So Christ carried the cross, and of course he had this 3. There it is. Let's see. He had the 3 of his mother's signature here in the Latins, 5, which is also Mother Eve right here, and of course 2, which also is Mother Eve when we add on the new column here, which 3 5s are 15, which is 6. We haven't got it on here, but you might notice it if you watch an introduction to Cry Queen. You will understand this fully. So 6 plus 5 is 11. So 1 plus 1 in 11 equals 2. This is where 2, of course, with the R here would be a 9, 11, because this has the value of 9. Right here with the word waters. These were all words that give us meaning, which we have been using intuitively to understand where we are meant to be. So back to the comparison with Christ and Mother Eve, we see that the first word or letter Jesus Christ uses is the 13. It is a B. The B is symbolic for number 13. So he uses that. That was the last, it's like having your last conversation before you go to sleep, or the last people you saw. You wake up with that reality. That was the thing that would be fresh in your memory. So Christ, of course, even before being crucified, but that was the teaching, because he had the vision of what he was to go through. And with the teachings, of course, that came into fruition. So Christ would have used this teaching to say, blessed be the poor, for they would be, I don't know, I can't tell you the rest of it, but blessed be the poor. And there was, blessed are they that mourn. Blessed are the poor. Blessed are they that mourn. Blessed are the meek. Blessed are they which hunger and thirst after righteousness. Blessed be the merciful. So the things that were, I think it would be, blessed are the merciful. Sorry. So the things that are consistent right there, again, there is a pattern with the teaching of Christ. The word the is consistent, and are, of course, which is a 3-letter word, like the word, like Mother Eve here is a 3-letter word, and the word are equals 15. So we see when Christ says blessed are, 15 is new. So it's blessed, basically new, and are, it has the same numerical value. So blessed are the poor, and Mother Eve, of course, as shown in the new. This is why it is said, when you are in Christ, you are a new creature. This is the term, this is the position Christ was referring to. So there were 8 entries to Christ's spell. We could use that as well. So this is what Christ was casting, those spell. We use the word spell because these are words that have that we string together to make sense of whatever it is that we want to, whether to convey or whether we want to hear or listen. So the things that were consistent, if we get the numerical value for the word blessed, of course, which has in it less, which has in it seed, SEED. So we would have seed or seeds. And so basically, Christ had called those who are less, or those who have seeds, or to be less, or to have seeds. There is a cycle. The word bless is really showing or depicting a cycle. And so we have, let's just have it here, blessed equals 3. As I say, I'm not going to do the numerical values. The words are equals 15, which is 6, and the word the also equals 6. And if we add this together, we can see this equals 12. 18. So 12, 15, sorry. 12, 13, 14, 15. So there we are. I am just doing this now so we can see the consistency of what is happening here. So when we speak about Christ's teaching coinciding with Mother Eve, when you are in Christ, you are a new creature. We had the word new, N-E-W, which is 5, 5, 5, 3 5s of 15. This is why it is said 15 is the love number. Of course, it equals 6, as in the, Venus, the planet, and of course, it is our number, the number of man, of course, which is the 6, the sex number. Okay, so we have this that is consistent. So 1, for instance, is 6 and 1 is 7. If we add these together, so there is a message being given to us here to add this together. Christ is 6, and the to see the consistency that they come together and form 13. 6 plus 7 equals 13. So we are dealing with 13 here. And of course, 13 is basically what Revelation is about. There's so much with 13. Revelation is 9, 5, 4, 5, 3, 1, 2, 9, 6, 5. Adding these together is 20, 26, 30, 49. 4 plus 9 equals 13. That's what Revelation is about. And that's, of course, why a lot of people are talking a lot about Revelation, in the sense of all the stories, or what John has, John's vision in the story. Now, I won't go too much onto that, but we see, of course, here we have 13, which is revealed to us as 1 plus 3 would be 4. What we have seen here, again, we see that takes us back into the story of Christ being crucified. And of course, the representation of this 4 is that Mother Eve, and in the teaching of Christ, is really calling us 4, as in the that equals called 4. Oh, let's do this, which equals 10, because we have 4 right here. When we add this together, 4 equals 10. 1, 2, 3, 4 together equals 10. This is where we are asked to go through that developmental stage right here. And of course 4 has the same numeric